In this video, we're going to explore basic functionality and features within a existing project, focusing on the Fulcrum app on an iPhone that we would be using in the field for data collection. This would be basically the same if we were using an Android or a tablet, whether it was iOS or Android based. I have an example merch project app already created, as you can see on my list. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. And there's no records here, but I'm going to create one. And at this point, we are pretty much at the stand or unit level is the best way of thinking of it. At the top, you'll see variable radius plot cruise and 100% cruise. So selecting between these will bring up some downstream options. For now, we'll look at VRP cruises. Enter your identifiers, township range, section track type. We're just going to leave these as the defaults for now, and we'll go ahead and select a B1 value of 3361 as an example, and we'll advance at the bottom to the plot level. So there's currently no plots, but we'll create our first plot. We'll enter cruiser initials. And then here again, you have the ability to select between tally and measure plots. We will leave this on measure and explore the features of a full measure plot. Prism factor, we're going to enter B1, which we've established is going to be a 33.61, and advance to the tree level and add our first tree. Tree number 1, species drop down. These match the Super Ace species codes. Be a Doug fir with a diameter of 20, age class 1. Form point, we're cruising at 16 feet, so we'll enter 16. A form factor of 87. Top diameter, we're going to cruise 4/10 tops, so we'll put a 4 there, and let's say we shot a bull height of 100. As you scroll down, you can see that you could enter site tree data if you wanted to. Generally, that will just be left no, of course. And then you have your fields to enter log 1, log 2, 3, on up. But we'll go ahead and enter a couple of logs just as an example. And I'd like to show how you enter a last log segment with an unknown length by assigning the length as 0. This will automatically be converted to a -- per the Super Ace format at export time and allow Super Ace to run out that last log segment until it hits the minimum diameter. There's options for length, diameter, and percent. Percent defect can simply be entered with the intended value. This will get converted, and in your exported data will come with the appropriate format of a 1 in the percent column and the 1.5 in the length and diameter columns as per usual. Clear that, and let's say we have 2 feet of length defect, just as an example, and we'll save this tree. So now you can see some of the values at the top. If we add a couple trees, you can see how that becomes useful for on-plot progress tracking. Say I was able to get a form factor and a bull height, but I had not yet gathered diameter information. When I save this, you can see what values have been filled and what have not in order to assist you in efficiently cruising trees at the plot level. If you determine later that tree number 2 is actually not in, if you're doing some limiting distance calculation and you want to delete it, if I just swipe over and delete this tree. For now, my tree numbers are off, but if I back out to this screen and then move back in, you can see that my tree numbers have changed. Similarly, if I have tree number 3 and then realize that that was in error and tree number 3 is actually tree number 2, I can change tree number 3 to tree number 2. Hit save, and then my numbers are off. But if I back out trees have been moved according to the assigned numbers you gave them. So it's an easy way to reorder your trees. You can delete your trees. Full functionality as needed by the cursor is supported there. I'm going to go ahead and just get some numbers into these fields in order to enable us to save this plot and explore the rest of the features. The red asterisk indicates that these are required fields, so if I don't fill this out, I won't really be able to save the plot. Also, there is some error checking here. If I give this a bowl height of 10, I get a warning that that seems wrong based on the diameter of 14. You can still use it, but you get a warning in case that is simply a clerical error. So now I'll be able to save this tree and I'll be able to save this plot. So now we can take a quick look. Plot 2, for example, is a tally plot. When I switch that to tally and enter tree level data collection, you'll see that the only fields I'm asked for are species and tree count. So I could have 1 Doug fir and 1 red alder as an example, and this plot would be complete. I could save that plot and move on to plot number 3, which would once again be a measure plot. You'll also see that some fields such as cruiser ID and prism factor are autofilling based on my last entry. So yeah, that's basic functionality of VRP cruising in VersaTree. At this point, I'm going to back up and save, and this is going to sync, and that data would then be ready for export at versatree.app in my web browser. Before we go there and look at that, I'm going to move back in and show you a few fields. Tree count and trees per plot may be useful for cruisers to keep an eye on while cruising. We're going to go ahead and save this and create a new unit in this project. It's going to be track number 2, and we're going to explore the 100% cruise features. So by changing that to 100%, you'll now see this count measure ratio. This is useful for cruisers implementing a stand table adjustment cruise. Everything else all the way down is going to basically be the same, with the exception that at the plot level, you won't be asked for a prism factor. It will automatically be filled as 00 at export time as per Super Ace format. We'll go ahead and back up, discard that plot, and I'm going to show you what happens if you're cruising with a stand table adjustment method. If you change this ratio to anything other than 1:1, so let's say 1:2, and proceed to the tree level, if we have a red alder with a diameter of 8, we will have to fully cruise this tree. So all the normal required fields will be required before the plot is considered complete. So if I go ahead and fill those out, I'm going to skip the log segments. Once these were all filled out, this tree could be saved, and you could begin on tree 2. And tree 2, if it is a 10-inch alder, will also need to be fully cruised. However, if it is an 8-inch alder, it will automatically let me know that this is a count tree, and all I need is the species and diameter, can save it and move on. While the third tree, according to my ratio, if it was also an 8-inch alder, would be a fully cruised tree, and all the fields would be required. When you export the project, all of your stand table data will automatically populate as a STND plot. So some more time savings to the cruiser there. So I'm going to discard this tree. I'm going to save my way out like normal, and that project would sync. So at that point, let's say I had concluded my cruising, I would be able to go to versatree.app, go to merch example, and you will see that I now have 2 records available for export. When I export those records, I'll get a notification that the export is in progress, And when it is ready, I'll have a link here for a zip file that if I tap on, I can download and enter into Super Ace using the backup restore function.